All right, guys. Thank you for all joining me. This is JJ's Networking Zoom on Wednesday, July 19th. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm sitting in for JJ. Obviously, I know what you're asking yourself. You're saying, who is this blindingly handsome young man hosting this Zoom call for JJ? And to that, I would say, wow, thank you. That's very flattering of you. No, but seriously, my name is Justin. I'm here sitting in for JJ. It's really an honor to be doing this with him, for him rather. JJ is on a very well-earned vacation, sabbatical, if you will. He will be back. He hasn't stopped hosting. He's just allowing me to kind of take over for him this time. But it's really an honor. So thank you, JJ. But that's the kind of guy JJ is. So if you guys don't know JJ that well, keep coming here. You will get to know him. He's just an amazing go-giver, and I'm about to interview another amazing go-giver, and I'm really excited about this guest today. Our guest today is going to be talking about, if you guys didn't see the registration, we'll be talking about multifamily and multifamily funding specifically, and what you do basically when you can't find private funding. I'm really interested to hear this. I know a lot of other people are too, who are in the multifamily space. So I'm really excited to have him here. Dana Jones.
What's going on, Justin? What's going on, JJ or Justin?
I know. Who is
What's going on, big guy?
Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for jumping on with us today to kind of go over your information. It's really, I'm really excited to hear this presentation that you got for us. So, but before we get into it, maybe tell a little people, for those who don't know you or haven't been here before, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where are you at in the country? What did you do before you got into real estate investing? And, kind of give us the rundown.
Okay. Well, my name is Dana Jones. I'm actually from Baltimore, Maryland, but as you can see in the background, I live over here in Los Angeles, California. So I actually come from the car industry. So when I was living in Baltimore, I was selling cars. I was making a lot of money selling cars. I would always go to my dad for advice. And, one time I think I had like 250,000, and my dad would always say, hey, put your money in the mutual funds and the money market and all that type of stuff. So once I saw that in a year that I had 250 grand, I saw that I probably made like $100 off of that. I was like, hold up, this is not resonating kind of well with me. So what I did was I would just take the money that I would make off of selling cars, and I would just buy houses in the inner city in Baltimore for cash. I would get those properties renovated. I would sell those properties. That would be my savings. So my houses would be my savings, and my car money would just be my everyday money. So then, long story short, I guess to bring it back to where I'm at right now in life, that's how I was able to move over here in Los Angeles, California, because I did have a rental portfolio over there in Baltimore, and it allowed me to move 3,000 miles away where I didn't know anybody. So I was actually doing a BRRRR method. So I actually went from fixing and flipping to saying, you know what, if I continue to do fix and flips, then I'm going to kind of like burn myself out. So let me kind of build a nest egg, and let me build a rental portfolio. So I think I had like 20 properties at that time right there. So I utilized that income to come out here over in Los Angeles, California. And then, I guess you asked a couple more questions. I'll let you know how we got to the mortgage industry.
Well, so what I was going to say is that fixing and flipping, that's an important point that maybe we shouldn't browse over. Fixing and flipping is an amazing game, but you definitely do get burned out. You do get burned out, huh? And you can attest to that, right?
Because the thing about fixing and flipping, it's pretty good. It's as good as like for some income. So you might can make, back in the day, I was making like 70,000 off of a deal, 80,000, things of that nature. But then sometimes once you start using a hard money lender and stuff like that, sometimes you might get to it. If you're only doing fix and flips, you look at it whereas though the hard money lender is getting paid, the general contractor is getting paid, and I'm waiting on the tail end of it. And like, who knows if I'm going to get paid or when I'm going to get paid, or once I refi, if the market goes down, am I going to be able to take this 50,000 out that I thought I was going to take out? The 50 grand might turn into like 20 grand. So it's like,
it's like one of two things typically happens. You run out of money or you get burnt out. It's like one of those two things typically happens, right?
Yeah.
Well, so your story actually really resonates with me on a certain level. Now, it's not that you started in car sales and started doing your thing, but we'll get into that. But it's just, you started off in a career over here, started making some money, and you realize like, hey, I need to start doing something with this money, right? I need to start doing something smart with this money, something that's going to grow my wealth, something that's going to give me passive income and build my wealth essentially, right? Is that kind of the thought process there?
Yeah. That's sort of, yeah, that's the thought process. And I look at it as, I equivalent it to even with the mortgage company that we have, it's almost like if you go into the food market, they don't just sell ice cream, or they don't just sell cereal, or they don't just sell water. You go into the grocery store, the food market, they sell assortment of everything. So why in life, they taught us you can only focus on one thing, just focus on fix and flip, or just focus on a burn method. Whereas though, if you're in real estate, you should do like building blocks. So you can have a little bit of the fix and flip. You had a burr, you get into commercial, you can just do an assortment of everything, which in the real estate realm, and that's how you can actually get wealthy instead of being rich.
Yeah. And so let me ask you a question. How did you, because a lot of people struggle, especially my sub two family members that are in here, suffer from shiny object syndrome, right? So early on when you were building your empire, how did you get focused? How did you stay focused? Did you, just say, hey, look, I'm going to do this for 90 days or 100 days. I'm going to learn this and then I'm going to move to the next thing. Or did you kind of have your hands in a whole bunch of things at once? Like, how did that go for you?
Yeah. I kind of had had my hands in a whole lot of things at once, but the thing about it is, even in multifamily, you realize you have to have a team in order to grow and go to the next level. So even with the mortgage company I have over here, is me and my wife. So with that right there, my wife, she's focused on the residential portion and I'm focused on the commercial portion.
Okay.
It is a funny story. Even like I say, you got to actually have like a team. So you have to have a strong person. So even how we came about with the mortgage company, I was in Baltimore doing the fix and flips. My wife was my realtor, and I said the only thing that we're missing, because for every deal you do, you have to get the money. So the only thing we're missing is the mortgage company. So I mean, I had this crazy idea to open up a mortgage company 6 years ago, and here it is, E-Plan a mortgage. Oh, she thought I was a little crazy, but hey,
That's so great.
for the blessings,
That's so great. I wish I was that crazy. I wish I wish I had that kind of craziness in me. That's the good kind of crazy though, man. That's the visionary kind of crazy that you almost need to have if you want to grow beyond a certain point. So that's beautiful, man. So yeah, you met your wife in California, yeah?
Yeah. I met her in California, and the crazy thing about it is we're both from Baltimore. We're from Baltimore,
Huh.
kind of like in the same neighborhood, but it's like I believe our steps are ordered, and the Lord allows us to go where we need to go at the
Destiny,
right time.
man.
So
Destiny.
yeah, we're from the same part of the world, but we actually met over here pretty much. So that was
That's great.
a crazy story right there.
That's a great story, man. And she works with you in the mortgage business, yeah?
Yeah.
So
So
what was her response to you when you said you were going to open a mortgage company? Like what?
um, I mean, you figure she believes she believes in me, so that's a blessing right there. So she said, Dana, if that's something that you want to do, I see that. I mean, she typically says everything you kind of your hand touch, the Lord allows you to turn it to gold. So she said, if that's something that you want to do, I know once you put your mind on it to do it, you're going to go full steam ahead at it. So I mean, if you want to do it, then let's go and let's continue to
Let's
build.
not do it half out. Let's do it all the way. I love that. I love that.
That's the only way to go, You got to bet on yourself. If you're not betting on yourself, who else can you bet on? Like a lot of times we watch football and we bet on who just won the Super Bowl. But let's go to Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets just won. They just won the basketball.
There you
So a
go.
lot of
There you
times
go.
we bet on these teams. Like, man, I bet the Joker's going to win. Denver's they're going to take him down. LeBron, he's going to do his thing. But sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you got to bet on yourself. So, you bet on yourself and you have a family, you can't let yourself down. You can't let your family down. So that mental capacity, that mental grind is going to actually allow you to go to the top pretty much,
And keep it going. I would say just to add something to that real quick. If I see a lot of couples in sub two and in other in the real estate world that do really well, but it's always the couples that build each other up. It's always the couples that complement each other, and maybe you don't have to complement each other like 100% perfectly, but build each other up. And that's true with your partnerships too. For those of you who aren't in couples or don't have a relationship in that way, the people you surround yourself with, the people you partner with, it should be the same idea. You guys should build yourselves up, right? You should complement each other. So that's great, man. So talk to me about, moving in, from the car selling business, you got into real estate, you started doing some fixing and flipping, started making some money. Obviously you made some money in the car business and you decided to move into real estate, but you got into multifamily. What got you into multifamily?
Well, that's a long story. I'm gonna tell you what the first thing that actually allowed me to get to multifamily is something that you just touched on pretty much. I joined sub two and I actually joined these mentorship programs. So one thing that allowed me and opened my mind up to look to the next level is I had to seek and try to go further. So, I was kind of burnt out from the single family. So I said, you know what, let me sign up for this sub two program. So I signed up for sub two. I went to Clever Investor last year, and me and JJ kind of connected. And actually, me and JJ, we went half on a mastermind. It was called the Avengers. The mastermind was $50,000. And JJ was like, Dane, if you want to do it, I'm gonna do it. I said, okay, let's do it. So I say all that to say is, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to kind of like invest in yourself. You have to invest in these masterminds, because when you're a part of a mastermind, part of a community, and have like a mentor to teach you and allow you to scale, they actually made the mistakes for you. So being as though they made the mistakes for you, a lot of people say, I'm not going to pay $25,000. I'm not going to pay $10,000. But it's like, okay, you pay that, and it might take you like 3 months or 4 months to get to where you need to be. But if you do it on your own and you don't pay that, it might take you 3 or 4 years to get there, pretty much.
Exactly right.
So being in these communities is what allowed me to say, hold up, I think I'm doing my thing at single family, and single family seems to be good, but this freaking multi-family is a different animal.
Yeah, you get good at multifamily. That's where everybody graduates to, right? It's like everybody starts in wholesaling, then they move into buy and hold, single family, and then they move into multifamily. Like that's the progression, right? Or commercial or what have you. But yeah, that's great, man. So it's been multifamily basically. You still dabble in single family, is that right? You still do single family residence as well?
Yeah, I still do single family. And like I said, I'm a part of like a lot of these masterminds. So as far as the multifamily, so once I meet new people, I say, hey, I invest in Baltimore, I invest in Augusta, Georgia. But I had this mortgage company. So then everybody like, oh, mortgage. Oh, you know what, Dana, you're going to do my DSCR loan. So then as everybody's kind of like bullying me and making me do that DSCR loans, everybody's multifamily. So I said, you know what? My wife was like, you need to be in commercial, and look, you focus over there, and I'm going to focus on residential. So I just started focusing on being a part of like Vina Jetty's group and all that, and everybody's in multifamily. I said, well, hold up, why don't I just do the loans for them?
Yeah,
so I can actually do the loans for them and get paid off of doing the loan, and they at least know that as a person who they know, like, and trust that's doing the paperwork for them. And then if I do like a co-GP or something with them, then I can actually get on that as well too. So I was like,
you get into the deal. So that's an important thing. It sounds like you found your niche, right? It sounds like you found your niche in real estate. That's one of the things a lot of people struggle with, especially in the beginning, is finding where they fit into this whole equation. And what would you say to someone brand new, somebody just getting in and who's trying to figure out where their niche is at? What would you say to someone like that?
Man, when you get this the shiny object syndrome, you just gotta I just say, just search within and just ask the Lord just to guide you. Like when I joined sub two, I was like, I'm gonna learn about wholesaling, so therefore I can actually go right direct to seller. So when I started doing it, then I learned that the VAs was sending me trash leads, and you got to train them, you got to do this, and I slowly but surely just said, I'm not used to losing at nothing, but I didn't lose. I just said, you know what, wholesale is not for me. It's like I would rather pay a wholesaler that $10,000 fee, that $15,000 fee, long as there's enough meat on the bone, then I would just take it from there. And it's like, everything is about numbers. So I would just say anybody that's starting off and just new into it, you can actually dibble and dabble into wholesaling or the burr or fix and flip, but just follow your heart. Just go with the one that you actually feel inside, the one that you're interested in. Yeah. Don't go after because, man, I can make $50,000 off this deal. I can make $70,000 off this deal. Don't look at the money, because the money is not going to make you happy. Do something that you believe that you're called by the Lord to do, and then that's where you're going to be successful at, because you're going to bet on yourself. You're going to go all in. Yeah, don't chase the dollar sign.
To your point, if you're chasing the money, you're going to burn out on that real fast. Like find what you're actually enjoying doing, right? And that's where you're going to be successful. So, man, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about, so from the multifamily financing situation, funding is getting harder and harder to come across, right? It's getting harder and harder to get it, depending on your situation. What do I do? I can't find private money. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the multifamily financing and let's get into that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So pretty much with the multifamily finances. So say for instance, we're just going to use this round number. So say for instance, you're looking for an asset that's like $1 million. You're looking for an asset that's like $1 million. The only thing you have to do on a raise is come up with like 25% of that, which is 250,000. And right now we have all these great communities. You have like Sub 2, you have the Gator community, you have Vina Jetty, you have all these great communities out there, and you have all the resources. So you have to, like you was just doing a Facebook 101, you have to actually talk to people. You got to be a part of these communities, and then raising the money is not going to be hard. But it's almost like, you have to at least come up with like 25% skin in the game. So If that asset is $1 million, you have to raise 250,000, which is 25% of that right there. And we have to make sure that the debt services. So just say, for instance, the mortgage on that particular asset is going to be like $6,000. You just got to look at when you do your rent rolls, your NOI, you got to make sure that the numbers each month is going to be more than that $6,000. So long as the rental income is more than what the mortgage is, then I mean, it's pretty much a easy deal for you.
Let's talk about that. What do I do if I can't find the money? Because it's part of what you do, right? You help people find that funding, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like I said, because typically when you're trying to do a raise, and like I said, if the asset is like $1 million, some people actually come and say, hey, man, I'm trying to raise $1 million, but no, you don't have to raise it. Like I say, you have to raise like 25% of that. But truthfully, if there's like a CapEx, you have to do like certain improvements because it's like is a B class with a value add. You might want to try to get like 350,000 opposed to 250,000. So that's where E-Plan and Mortgage comes in, because we actually help you with that funding. So we actually help you with the funding. As long as it debt services, then you'll get like a great rate.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about, we'll let everybody know how to get a hold of you and how to contact the company for that. But tell us some of the difficult challenges you've had in the mortgage space, specifically with multifamily. What have been some of the challenges you've had?
I mean, well, the challenge is going on right now is what you said earlier, is the interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
So the interest rates are going up, and the cap rates are going up as well too. So you figure like an asset that might been at like $1 million, I'm just keeping like low numbers, at $1 million right now might be worth like anywhere from like 900,000 to like a little bit more. Right. So what happens is if the interest rates are going up, and remember I said everything has a debt service. So instead of you putting down 25%, you might have to raise anywhere from like 30 to 35%, because remember the rents have to cover the mortgage.
Yeah.
So if the interest rate is like at a 5%, then you can put down like 25%. But if the rate goes up to like 7 to 8%, then you might have to like actually raise more to actually make sure that the debt services, because you figure when the bank or when a lender goes in and lend on that particular asset, they got to at least make sure there's a cash flowing asset. That's
right. Yeah, I think a lot of people are new to the multifamily space. Now I'm still new to the multifamily space as well, but what you learn really fast is that the value is in the rent. The value is in your tenants, right? That's at least that's a good portion of it, right? So when you're looking at a prospectus, a lot of times brokers will when they list properties, they'll have their prospectus there and they'll show you the rent rolls, and a lot of times they paint those pictures with rose-colored glass. You're looking at it through rose-colored glasses if you're looking at it from the broker's perspective, right? They're trying to entice you, right? And so you really have to know, you really have to do your research. You have to understand, like, I don't want to look at what projected rents are. I want to know what you're getting for rent right now, right? And that's where those numbers come. Those are the numbers that are important, right? So when you guys underwrite, right, let's say I've got a project and you guys are going to underwrite. Are you guys underwriting with the anticipation of the rate hikes coming up? Because we know there's going to be more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to. So when you're underwriting, you always got to do your due diligence. So you have to look at that right there, pretty much, because you figure you don't want to get caught holding the bag. So you have to look at what the market is, what the projected market is. So for instance, if you're looking at the rates are like right now, like I said, anywhere from like a 7 to an 8, you might underwrite that file to like a 9, because you know that the market is kind of, the rates are like rising at a steady rate right now, pretty much.
Gotcha.
So the number one thing, even in getting multifamily, is the number one thing is you have to underwrite real good. You have to do your due diligence, because like you said, the broker is always going to paint a rosy picture, because the broker works for the seller. So that number one thing is to sell that asset. So if you don't underwrite that file to a T, you might get stuck holding the bag, and then that'll be a bad situation. And then the investors are number one. So like I said, if you're raising 250,000, 350,000, sometimes you might have a raise for like 1.2 or like $3 million. If you're raising that from your investors, they're the number. Without your investors, there's no way that you can grow. So you always want to do things and make sure they're happy. And therefore, you'll have a great business deal and a great track record. So
when we talk about somebody like a Pace Morgan, who's got a lot of projects going on, a lot of multifamily deals going on, this guy's not worrying, because he's gotten into a lot of these creatively, right? Mm-hmm. He's getting 30-year, 40-year terms, principal only payments, right? Now, obviously, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know where to look, and those deals are few and far between. But you get into those now, you're not worried so much about the rate hikes. You're not worried so much about getting your money, having to get your money back out in the next like 5 to 10 years, right? Obviously, you want to make sure you're getting those rents stabilized and all of those things and all the most important things. But the deeper you buy, the better off you're going to be, right? You make your money when you buy, right? Is what they say.
That's what everything. That's what single family, multi-family. That's what a car. That's what anything. Yeah, because you always make your money when you buy because you had more options. So if you have 5 different exit strategies because you bought it right, then you're good. But if you only had 2 different exit strategies because you paid too high for that asset or for that car, then it's like, yeah,
you're going to be in trouble, right? So do you find that a lot of creative deals come your way with the multifamily space, or have you ever dealt with any creative deals with multifamily?
I mean, yeah, I do some of the creative deals, and then with that right there, when they're doing like seller financing, we just make sure that they can just be second. So we will always have to be first, and as long as they'll be second holding the note, then we'll be okay with that right there too. Because that's another way. Because creative is a way where as though it's going to debt service. Because you might have somebody who might hold a note for like 500,000, 700,000, and you're getting financed for like 700,000. So therefore it's going to be a home run. It's going to debt service right there.
Yeah.
So what about?
Let me ask you this: What about due diligence when looking for lenders? Obviously, I come to Dana. I want to come to Dana to get my funding, but if I don't know where to go, if I don't know where to look for a lender for funding, what would your advice be for that? If I'm looking for a lender to work with?
Well, like I say, I've been handling like a lot of people in sub to you and Dana, so you want to reach out to me.
Go see Dana. Just go see Dana. Okay. Yeah. That's maybe what I was getting at. Let's go see Dana.
Yeah. I'll take care of you. 310-926-6318 and ePlanetMortgage.com.
Absolutely. So real quick, for those watching on YouTube, where can people reach you? What's the best place to reach you at?
Yeah, you can go and give me a call. Dana Jones. My number is 310-926-6318. You want to reach me on Instagram, because a lot of people on Instagram right now is at Dana Jones the Mogul, and then my website is ePlanetMortgage.com.
I want to bring up Victor. Victor's got his hand up right now, so we're gonna bring Victor up here just for a second.
So as I told Justin and everybody else, I'm getting into syndication and multifamily as well. So I'm just researching and how to do it. But could you talk to that first point you made about making 25% of the deal? Now, I always thought that in syndication you'd try to raise everything, and then the fund the deal with what you raise. But now the 25%, you said you can raise it from, say, example, from fellow subtours. So how do you pay that back in this type of structure? Could you explain that structure for me, how that works from your example that you gave?
Okay, yeah. So you would just pay it back to your investors. You would give them like anywhere from like a 6 or 8% return on their money, and then it's all about your exit strategy. So on that particular asset, you might want to refinance or sell it anywhere from like 3 to 5 years. So then you would give them they would get a quarterly pay of like 6 to 8%, and then when they exit, they would get like a multiple like a 1.9. So if somebody like invested like $100,000 in like 3 to 5 years, once you exit that asset, then they would get like $90,000 back if it's like a 1.9 multiple.
Okay, so you can
for your investors.
So you can set up a raise for just the down payment and then finance the remainder. Okay, I didn't catch that, so that's gold. I didn't know you can do that. Okay, that's great.
And then, as a matter of fact, so now I'm sitting there thinking about it. If you're just doing a raise, if you're doing just a raise for the down payment, so it depends on if they're going to be LPs or if they're going to be long term in a deal. If it's going to be somebody like a Gator lender or something like that. So if it's going to be something the short term, then you can actually give them like a 10% return on that money. So then, like I said, the interest rates are going up. So we get you at 75% LTV, but you always want to kind of raise like a little bit more. So you would want to raise like in that particular instance, instead of raising 250, you want to raise 350. And what I would do if they're not going to be like LPs in it for the long run, just give them like a 10% return on that money in like a year or something like that. And that way right there, you'll be cool on that particular asset.
So in the short run, what do you typically see for LPs look for that's in it for a short term? Do they expect did you usually see them wanting a payout in 6 months, 7 months, or I mean 9 months? What's the typical, or is there such a thing as a typical payout
No, I mean, it's
term?
like every deal is structured like differently. It's all about you as a GP, but typically for the LPs, they're in it for like I said, anywhere from like 3 to 5 years. So it's all about what your exit strategy is. So like me and Justin was saying, once you buy it, you always want to know what your strategy is. So if you're going to be in it for like 5 years, then you give them anywhere from like a 6 to 8% return. You pay them quarterly, and then it depends on how much you feel as though the asset's going to go up. So like I said, if somebody gave you like 100,000 in 5 years, you would cash them out at like 190, somewhere around there.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem.
All right, Victor. So that answers your question pretty well, yeah?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it opens up a lot.
All right, we got another question.
I've been in this investing group, since the beginning of July. So I'm about 2 weeks into it.
Mhm.
And multifamily is one of the things I've been thinking about. So as a a new person getting into this, who would be like the first 2, 3, or 4 things to put on my forefront to keep in mind as I move forward to learn multifamily?
I'm gonna tell you one of the things that I did when I first got into it. Pretty much, is a person. Pace is real cool, but her name is Vina Jetty. So I would actually, I would sign up for Vina Jetty the Vote. So when you first get into multifamily, you want to know like the vocabulary words, you want to know the lingo, you want to know how to talk and all that type of stuff, because multifamily and single family, they're like 2 different animals pretty much. So I would actually sign up for the Vote. I think it's like maybe anywhere from like $99 to like $149 a month, but that would actually like kind of help you out, because that'd be the education. And then for $99 to like $149 a month, that's super dirt cheap, because remember I told you, me and JJ paid like freaking 50 grand to be a part of a mastermind. So it's almost like she's giving it to you for free. So I would actually educate myself with that education, so I can know what the vocabulary words are. I can know what everything is, and I would get as much knowledge as I can on that particular subject or topic. And then from there, you can make your calculated decisions and risks pretty much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Let's ask your question.
Appreciate it. So, yeah, and thanks for doing this as well, for putting it on. I just found out about it this morning. So I have a specific deal, actually, a question for you.
Okay.
As a common structure, creative finance, multifamily in sub 2 is they'll seller finance you their equity, but they'll have a small amount in a underlying note from the first, from their previous bank, right?
Mhm.
So let's just take $1 million property,
Mhm.
and let's say they have $200,000 left from their previous note, and they're willing to seller finance the $800,000.
Mhm.
Would y'all just pay off and I'm also trying to avoid the due on sale clause, right?
Mhm.
So would y'all just pay the $200,000 off, replace it with the new first position note? It's
No,
20, I guess 20%.
No. What we would do, because like I said, that's like the scenario that I painted out earlier. We would actually still let that $200,000 be in second. We would just take first. So therefore, right there, it would be able to debt service, because you would have that $800,000 right there.
But I guess I would try to get rid of that other note, because it's from a traditional bank or whatever, and they potentially could call due on sale. So what I was thinking is maybe you guys pay off that $200,000 and we have him seller finance in second position.
What is what's the interest rate on the 200,000?
5%.
It's like 5%.
22 years left on a 30-year M.
Okay, so you got the 8. Yeah, so yeah, we could do that right there. What is the so everything with this, is this your first multifamily deal right here?
I have a triplex, but yeah, first commercial.
Okay, yeah. So on something like that, and what would you say as we look at that? What is your FICO as a sponsor? Who would be? Are you the lead sponsor?
I probably wouldn't be. I have no money, but it probably would be somebody who has like a, let's say 730 credit score or something, 720.
Okay, yeah. So that sounds like.
It's a 5-unit, by the way. It's a 5-unit, and
it's a 5-unit. What state is it in?
It's in Arizona. It's in Mesa, actually.
Is it Mesa?
I'm giving away all the details, but I'm not worried about it because it's actually off market.
Yeah.
And
just don't get an address on it.
I was just gonna say that. Don't give the address.
Yeah. Okay, so
unless you have it under contract. If you have it under contract, you're fine. But still.
Yeah, no, that sounds like something that'd be doable for us. I mean, you said the sponsor is like a 7:30. Yeah, you want to give me a call offline and I can just run everything deep. I can give it a deeper dive, truthfully. You see my number right there?
Yeah, I took it down.
Okay.
But am I thinking about that right? Does it have to be 20% or I guess 25, at least 25%? In this case, it would be a 20% LTV.
Yeah, but you had to get like another like 5% pretty much. So like just do like
Sure.
a 5% raise pretty much for it to be 20%. I mean 25%. Because it's 20% on a single family asset, but the minimum on any multifamily is 25%, 75% LTV. So just do like a 5% raise.
I also think it's a common structure. You know, it's like everybody's trying to find seller finance deals where somebody owns multifamily free and clear. It's very rare to find somebody, you know, they're 60s, 70s who own, you know, a 10-plex, 20-plex free and clear. So a lot of the deals that we're finding, they got a little something left. And if we figure out a way to just kind of rinse and repeat, it'd make it a lot easier.
Yeah, and they're a little bit older too. So therefore, right there, as long as you're guaranteeing them some income, they don't have to do all the hard work because when it's like 5 units, that means they have to self-manage it. So now you can actually come in there, take that off and say, I can self-manage this right here for you. And I can actually make sure that you get your steady income so you can go and travel the world pretty much.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's some gold right there.
You gotta be a problem solver.
That's right, man. That's right.
Thank you.
That's what we do,
You're
man.
welcome.
That answer your question, all right?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
If I'm going to ask a group of people, invest in me and help me with the raise, would I have to worry about the regs, what they mentioned 506B or C, or do they have to be accredited investors? Or I know there's a limit on the C that they can be 35 unaccredited. I mean, I still have to go through all of that, right? The exemptions.
Yeah, you still, yeah. And then it's funny because as I'm sitting here looking at the chat, I think once I said Vina, she has a lawyer. His name is Nick McGrew. So I can actually get you Nick McGrew's information too. So he would just break down, because it depends on what type of raise that you're trying to do. And you would, like you said, you wouldn't need a securities attorney. So I can give you Nick McGrew's information. It's funny because somebody says she has access to her securities attorney. So I think they was talking about Nick. So he would be the one to answer all those questions right there. So therefore, if you wanted to be accredited investors or non-accredited investors, like whichever raise that you want to do, here's point you in the right direction in that realm.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Go visit eplanetmortgage.com. Go visit Dana and follow him on Instagram at Dana Jones the Mogul. We're gonna go ahead and end this interview, guys. But for me and Dana, thank you guys, everybody, for being here. And
Thanks everybody for being here.
Join us again, JJ's Networking. You know what? Real quick, actually, before I officially end this, I want to show you JJ's site as well. Here's JJ's site. For those of you guys who are here, obviously you know this, but for those of you who are watching on YouTube, go to jjzizian.com. You can go ahead and register for the group. But again, networking is one of the most important things. Next to funding, right? Networking is probably the most important thing. So come in here and register. If you click on this register now button, it's going to take you to the registration page. You go ahead and fill this out. JJ is doing this stuff for free, guys. That's huge. The value that just me personally, the value I've gotten out of here is obvious. I mean, but anybody who comes in here and who's been in JJ's networking for a while will tell you it's worth its weight in gold. And JJ should be charging his weight in gold, honestly, for this mentorship, but he doesn't. The one thing he does ask, though, is that once a year you donate $25 to his youth baseball league. So none of that money even goes to JJ. So again, it's free. But huge value. All of the people in sub 2, all the rock stars, including Dana, are here in JJ's networking. And as groups like sub 2 get bigger and bigger, it's going to be harder and harder for you guys to contact those rock stars. But man, you come over to JJ's and you've got a much better opportunity of meeting these folks. So come and register. Again, go to jjzizian.com, register on his main page here. Then you can also get to his YouTube. If you click on this link up here on the top right here for his YouTube, go to Flip Side Up with JJ. And literally, he's got racks and racks of videos. All the rock stars from sub 2, bunch of rock stars from Astro, fortune builders. They're all here, guys. All these interviews. It goes on and on and on. So just massive value. So get out there and register for JJ's group. But again, guys, thank you all for being here. I'm gonna say peace out for me and Dana, and thank you again, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Peace out.